Hello and welcome to Hobby Hangout with me, 40k Painter. I'm going to be doing some painting today with my airbrush. Hopefully you'll enjoy and make some suggestions and comments in the chat. That would be very much appreciated. And if you do enjoy, please don't forget to like and share and hit the notification bell so you're notified when there are new videos. So those of you who have seen some of my previous videos will have noticed that I built the model of the month from the Games Workshop store. This month, January, it is a striking scorpion, and I chose the X-Art model, which comes with the lobster claw. The other two models, the options were either one large two-handed sword or a sword in each hand. I quite like the lobster claw, so that's what we're going to do. The traditional colours for this model are green and yellow. Main body is green with yellow trim. Quite like those colours, so I'm going to stick with those. I've already primed it with just a spray on primer with the airbrush, and now that that's all dried, I'm going to do the actual painting. So I have 3 shades of green. All of them come from the Army Painter range. My darkest layer is going to be green skin. Then I'm going to use this one, verdigris, for the highlighting, and then just to make it shiny, because after all they are elves, and elves like to be shiny, I'm going to give bits of coating of glitter green. So this is a sort of a mid-shade green, but it's got glitter, or as my daughter calls it, fairy dust. It'll be a nice shiny sparkly model when it's finished. Now this particular paint range that I'm going to be using is not suitable for airbrushes as it comes. It does have to be diluted, and so that's something really important to remember. I'm using this, again part of the speed paint range from Army Painter. This is a speed paint medium for diluting your speed paints. So we'll start off with putting a number of drops in here. You want a 50-50 ratio, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'll probably put a little bit more in than I need for this because it's only a single model. But that said, I have just finished cleaning my airbrush, and usually once you clean it, there may still be little bits of the cleaning fluid or water still inside. So what you want to do is make sure that you've got it all out. So the first couple of blasts will just be to clean it out. So hopefully I should still have enough inside. So here's the green. So Mr. Green. 1, 2, 3. Oh, a bit too much there. Let's just check that. So once you've put your dilutant and your paint in, there's only a very little bit down the bottom, as you can see, but you can see that it's very much not. It's not mixed in, so it's quite separate at the moment. So you can do a few things to mix it up. Some people use brushes. I have a friendly chopstick, so I'm going to put in there, give it a whiz, make sure that this all gets mixed up. I think, judging by the texture, I want just a little bit more of the control dilution liquid. Have another look. Yeah, starting to look good now. So, work the outside of the barrel because I don't want to get it all gunky. So let's put that in there. Put the lid on, and we are ready to go. And again, you should be able to hear the noise of the compressor in the background. That should give you an idea of what it will be like, you know, when you're using one at home. It's pretty quiet, as you can tell. So here we go. So base layer, I want to be about a fist's distance away from it. So that's about right. And remembering what I said before about this airbrush, it does have a collar here that we can use around. So base wants to be there on that level, and you want your air pressure to be around 26 to 30. Not really want to go over 30. So put my glasses on and let's see how it goes. Now you'll notice I'm pulsing it. I'm not just scattergunning like a machine gun. Doing it in small blasts, controlled blasts. Although I can't seem to control the model today, it's got a life of its own. I'm not too worried about the sword because obviously the sword isn't going to be green. And I will cover that up later in the process. Yeah, starting to run a little bit low on the paint already. But overall, I'm happy with this first layer. We've got into all of the various nooks and crannies. It's going to give me a good base layer to start off with, nice and even. And everything's covered. I'll just put the paint gun down, paintbrush down. And if we look at this, discounting the sword for obvious reasons, as I said, it's not going to be painted green. You can see that in just a few moments, I've got a really nice base layer covered all of the model there quite nicely. I think I just need a bit more on the strap hanging off the sword there. Just not quite got that as well as I would like. So I'm going to give that a quick blast. But other than that, think it's not too bad. So, as you can see, airbrush painting is significantly faster. I mean, I really didn't go as fast as I could have there because I was talking, making this video. But also, not so good at multitasking, talking while painting. I'm new to painting, as I've said a few times, and I do have to concentrate on it. But overall now, let's have another check of that ribbon. Yeah, much better. And what you'll see as I move the model around in front of the camera, you can see all of that detail has been preserved. My big concern when I started airbrushing was that I would just kind of scattergun it everywhere and cover everything, and it needs a little bit more on the toe there, and ruin the models. But in fact, it's not the case. I did that more with a brush than I have with this. So let's just revisit that toe. There we go. Put it on the marble base as well, because we're going to be making the base all pretty later. Might as well start it with green. Okay, so there we have it. So I'm going to give that a moment while I wash out the paint cup and change over my paint. So when I'm painting, I always keep little pots of water. So I'm going to just empty out what's left into the water. Maybe move that a bit further away. Pretty much all gone. Quick fill, quick fill, and wait a moment. Now, the one thing I always recommend is having some cleaning cloths, because it can get a bit everywhere, especially when you first start learning to use it. So use a cleaning cloth, give it a bit of a wipe, make sure you get it all nice and clean. Same with the paint cup, give it a nice clean, try and get as much of that out as you can. And the next thing I'm going to do, back in there, is I keep a few of these. So this is just plain water. You can get these empty bottles, part of the wall paint range, and there's just nothing but water in here. So and they come with a little roller ball inside, little ball bearings, so that you can wipe your paints, mix your paints, stop them from drying out. I don't put paint in this one though, so I'm just going to put a few squidges of water through there. And give it a nice little, maybe turn that down a little bit. This. And you can hear I'm just pulsing it through as well, just to get rid of as much of it as possible. But also pulsing it makes sure that you don't get a build up on the end of the tip. Of course, a couple of really hard blows just to get rid of it. So we're looking good. We want the airbrush cleaner. So this isn't part of the range of the Army Painter. This is Medea, which I got as part of the kit when I bought the airbrush. So we're just going to put a few drops of the cleaner in there. give a swish around, and again we want to try to get rid of that, brush it through. If you put the end, if you cover up the end like that, you can get it to bubble through, and you know you're giving it a really good clean then. I'm still just blowing it through here, so you can see that as I blow, it's very slightly turning my cloth green, and that's because there's still just little bits on the needle in the cup, just or in the housing here that we're just cleaning and blowing through. But by the time I've done this, as you can see, it's almost finished. It's just bubbles really left on the bottom. We are pretty much done. Well, my cloth is now useless. Let's see if I can. Still a little bit in there, but we are pretty much done now. So, take that out, give that a final wipe down, check the inside of the cup, so we can see just a few little bits of, let me take that away, a few little bits of bubbles, which again, you would use your cloth to wipe down. So let's just get rid of all of those. Good scrub, and we're looking good, I think. And you can see, good to go. Didn't take very long. So let's just have a quick look in here. Still a little bit in there. Look, we need to get rid of that. Let's turn this off a minute. Definitely need to get rid of that. So put some cleaner directly into there. I'll put my finger on the top. And just gently blow it out. Almost done. Another little bit should be done. Okay. No, would help if I turn this back on. And there we go. And I've got my cloth. Bit of a wipe with the cloth. Squirt some of the clean water in there. And we're done. So, next thing I'm going to do is just double check that this has dried. It does get a bit messy. I love my cardboard box. My cardboard box makes things really easy. You don't really have to worry too much about having all the very fancy setups and the really expensive extract fans and things if you're only doing jobs like this. Obviously, if you're doing really big jobs with full-on artwork, you want to have some of that equipment, well ventilated room, you know, lots of oxygen. So let's put that there. So remembering from before, first thing we put in is the speed paint medium. So let's do that. Turn the compressor off a moment. So put 8 drops in last time and it was about right. So I'm going to do the same again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And let's give this a bit of a shake. Can you hear the ball bearing inside shaking, helping to mix it up? I haven't used this paint for a while, to be honest, so I want to make sure it's not too clumpy like the other one was, but that's looking good. So same as before, 8 drops hopefully. Being careful not to scratch or scrape, you know, do it quite gently. Don't risk bending anything that's in there or scratching your lovely new paint cup. And looking at that, that looks pretty good. Now, before, when we did this, I had it's probably easier to see it this way around. I put it on to wide open so that I could clean it. It was on base there. Now I'm going to be doing highlighting. I don't want to completely cover it, so I am going to put it on to setting number 2, and let's get this highlighting. Now, setting number 2, you don't get to pull the trigger back very much at all, so you don't get very much pressure and paint coming through, which is ideal because we don't want to drown it in paint when we're doing highlights. The other thing about this is to pick an area where you think you want your sun or your light source to be coming from, and then you basically spray from that area. So in this case, I'm going to have the sunlight coming down from above, right in front of him on a slight diagonal. So there is getting most of this area here. So let's turn this back on. Let's give it a quick test blast because we want to get rid of any water or cleaning material that might still be in the nozzle. And now we got excellent. So let's see what we can do. Again, remembering, take your time, because you don't want to drown out all of the detail. You just want a little bit coming through. And roughly keep it all at the same angle. So let's just have a little look. So not much has come through so far. There's not much highlighting there at all. If you compare the front and the back is a bit darker, but it's not much darker. So we definitely want to do a couple more layers of this. So I'm just going to keep on with this. Maybe I will turn it down a notch to number 1 to get a bit more coming through, which is where I ruin it. Make sure there is paint. Yes, that's not very much. Not very obvious at all. It definitely is shinier and lighter. When you look at the top, let me put that back in there. When you take my glasses off, when you look at the top compared to the legs, it is a brighter shade of white. It's a different shade. You look down, as you come around the back, you can see it's definitely darker lower down and on the legs and on the back, but there's not much to it, surprisingly. I think I'm going to add a little bit more of the paint. I think maybe it's a little bit too diluted, so let's add a few more drops of the paint. Give that a squeege. Let's see how that goes. Let's make sure I got some paint through. Okay, what's going on here? Seems to be not much coming through at all. So probably means that the brush, the tip of the brush needs some cleaning. So let's do some cleaning. Put some cleaning fluid in there. Oh, I keep knocking everything over. This is not a good day. A little nose, maybe take the end off. Ah yes, look, you can see it's all. So let's get a up there. Get another bit of cleaning cloth. Give it a good wipe. Clean that through. Back on there. And then look at the needle. Give that a bit of a clean through. Gosh, that looks quite dirty. And we've only done a tiny bit of painting, so that's not good. And then stick the tip back on, and let's give that a try. No. Okay. Add a bit more of the diluting liquid. Make that really good. And what I'm going to do, I think, is open this back up to full, give it a really hard blast. See if we can get rid of the clog. You can see that air is coming through. You can see the bubbles there are forming, which would indicate that this is quite blocked, which is concerning given how little we've actually done. So with that in mind, from my box of tricks, I'm going to get a different type of cleaner, which is better for getting into the tighter spaces. So yeah, that's what I'm actually going to do is move the model completely out of the way. So let's give this a squiz. So this This again came with the airbrush kit, so it's a liquid cleaner. Give that a good blast. How are we doing? Spray it in there. Give that a good blast. Let's see if we can see it. Yeah, so it's coming straight through there. So now let's give our needle a bit of a blast. Oh, I'm sure somebody's going to scream at me in the comments and say, that's not how you do it. And if so, please do, because like I said, I'm an absolute novice and I am learning how this works. So, it's like, right now, that's probably not supposed to happen. Okay. What I really don't want to do is ruin this. So let's give that a wipe. That a wipe. Put that down on there. Take the empty the paint down. So I was going to do a video on how to clean and tidy your airbrush. Now it would seem is a good time to do it. So let's get some on here. I'll get another cleaning cloth. And let's get this nice and clean. Okay, that's that done. Let's get the body of this clean first of all. So I'm going to switch the compressor off while I'm doing this. So let's have a little look. Need to clean this up. So I'm just wiping this down, wiping the inside of the air down. Making sure all of those holes are clean and open, and give it a quick spray. And make sure we've got it all. So that's looking decent. Okay, so the airbrush, very easy to clean. You just have the main body, the airbrush. I'm going to leave it attached here because it doesn't really matter. Now we unscrew here. Let's give that a wipe. That is the rear compartment. Probably a good idea to put my glasses back on at this point so I can see. Then we have this part here. This part secures the needle, and my hands are slippery now. So you just unscrew this part. Keep unscrewing it, just slides off like that. Just put that down there. Then there's your needle. So that's the actual needle that goes through to paint with. So let's give that a wipe. You can see there's a lot of green on there. Let's give that a wipe. Get rid of any of the green. What you can also do, which I'm tempted to do because it was completely bunged up, this is your collar, the collar that I was saying to you about, that has the different settings depending on whether you're base coating, layering, priming, etc. So I'm just going to put a cloth through there, give that a wipe down, So as you can see, just pulling the cleaning cloth through, making sure that there's no gunk on the inside. And then all that's left, if we unscrew this one, you take that off, that holds the spring in place. Take the spring out, check the spring looks fine. Check the spring holder, that looks fine. Maybe give a little bit of a wipe. And then you have your trigger mechanism, and as you can see, that part is completely clean, but there is green paint in there, which I suspect is where the blockage is. So put that to there because I don't want it shooting everywhere. I'm gonna spray some of this cleaner into there, and you can see it coming out of the front, passing through where the paint cup would go. I'm just gonna spray into there. Make sure we get any last bits of paint, and now we can see that the liquid is coming out clear. So just give that a wipe down. There is some in the front there, so see it's in there. So I'm just going to give it a blast. Make sure we're breaking down all of that paint with the cleaner. One other thing I'm going to do then, because I don't want to leave the cleaning substance in there, is just give it a run through with some water. So, give that a bit of a shake, make sure all the gubbins and the drips are out, and let's look at putting it back together. So, start off with what are we going to do? Well, putting it back in reverse order, that would be the trigger. So when you're looking there, you can see there's a little dimple where the trigger sits, and this like tail piece fits in at the back there. There we go. So that's working. And then we want to take the spring mechanism, put that into there, slide the spring on, take the little screw part that holds it on. That's a bit I always put on the wrong way. Hang on, what am I missing? That's the back part. It's, yep. Yeah, stupid idiot. Didn't go all the way to the end. So I didn't fit. Okay. Now we're going to put the needle in there very carefully, making sure that you're not forcing anything. That should work perfectly. And then needle should go into here, so you can see it's running straight through the trigger. So what we want to do is put the front end back on now. like so. Now then, once that's on, we want to slide this collar back on and into place. Put the rear locking nut back on. So it looks like that. And that's working perfectly. And let's screw the rear of the cylinder back together. Perfect. Okay, I finished cleaning, tidied everything up, and I've already mixed the paint into the paint cup. I wasn't quite happy with how light the highlights were, so I've done a slightly different recipe. So what I've done is I've got, in this time I've got 8 drops of the control medium, and I've put 6 drops of the verdigris green and 2 drops of white paint, which hopefully then will make the highlights a little bit better. So let's give that a go. So again, diagonally from above, closer. Okay, so yeah, you can definitely see them coming on there. So what I want to do is just turn that down a little bit. Just move it around a little bit so we can get it better. Maybe just on the front of the legs there. It makes sense that the front of the claws here would have some highlights, and a little pistol, and maybe front knee there. Okay, but not too much. Maybe the very top there as well. Top of the hat. Now, you can definitely see now, if I put this down, you can see the difference. As I turn it around, you can see the back's much darker, so the light is only shining from the front on the bits at the front that it would hit. So the top of the head, top of the hat, the top of the claw, top of the thigh and the knee there, and just the inside and the front of the thigh and the knee there on the straight leg. Now, bearing in mind, it's not going to stay that color, obviously, because we are now going to put the darker layer on. So what I'm going to do is switch this off. Now I'm sitting here wearing my my painting hoodie, or painting hoodie as my mate calls it. It's a really important piece of equipment is the painting hoodie. You really need a painting hoodie. If you haven't got a painting hoodie, you have to go and buy a painting hoodie. Obviously, I mean, for those of you that can't get my accent, it's a hoodie that you use for painting. And it ends up being really comfy, but it also ends up covered in paint. So you can only ever use it for painting. I'm sure I spend more time cleaning this than anything else. So I'm sure there's something I'm doing wrong. And if anybody watching has any idea of what I'm doing wrong, please tell me.
It does get to be a bit of a faff doing this every time.
Okay, let's put that back on. Put the tip back on. Wipe the body down. it's not covered in gunky green paint. And so, as I said earlier, the next layer that I want to do is this darker glitter green. So let's see how this goes. So remember, the paint medium goes in first. Glitter paint. Give it a mix. Possibly too wet. Just add a little bit more. So I'm told when you mix your paints, then you want the mixture to have the consistency of milk, wet milk. Really hard to show it here, but I think that's it looks the right consistency. It may be still slightly too watery, but we shall see. So let's move it up to step 1 on this, and again we're going to basically repeat what we just did, covering the highlighted areas from the same kind of angle. So we can see there is paint coming through now. Let's turn that up a notch. So you want too much coming through. Better. Ideally, we want to be looking at covering the bits where we put the highlighting on earlier. And what should happen is so we can see now the core is looking shiny. And when we do the other areas where we didn't highlight, we can see that even though it's shiny and it is getting a bit lighter, it is still quite dark. But the areas at the top of the head where we put the highlighting, you can see we do have, let me just hang that up, we do have the nice brighter areas in contrast to the darker areas around the back. And what I would be tempted to do is just put just a few darker bits back in there. But on the whole, I don't think it's looking too bad. We still got all the detail on the boots. You can see the laces. You can see the marks on the gun. You can see the tubing. You can see the armor parts. You can see the lines of the musculature. And you can see the lines for the eyes where I'm going to paint the eyes in later. So on the whole, I'm fairly happy with that. It doesn't look too bad. I've given it another clean, scrubbed it right down and changed the colour. So we've gone back to the dark green now, just the dark green. And what I've done, I've already mixed it. What I've been thinking while I was cleaning it is we shouldn't be getting so many blockages, and I think that might perhaps be because of the ratio. So maybe 50-50 ratio is too thick and causing it to block. So even though that's what pretty much everybody on all of the YouTube videos I've seen says, 50-50 mix, I've gone for a 60-40 mix of the control medium and the green, 60 control medium and 40 green. So all the intention is now, last layer of green really, is to just take a tiny bit of the highlights down a bit and deepen the contrast in the shadows. So I'm gonna apply, I've gone for the darker green, no white, no fairy dust, and I'm gonna start at the bottom and just darken the bottom areas and then slowly work my way up. Let's give this one last try before I throw the darn contraption in the bin. So let's go. Okay, it is working. Let's see, getting a bit more coverage there. Back of the legs, back of the thighs, boots. And it stopped working again already. Nooks and crannies of the gun. On the underside there. Definitely won't be any sun going in there. And then the side of the claw. Yeah, definitely paint transfer. Need to build it up and build it up. Okay, let's put that down for a moment and have a good look. What does it seem? Well, got highlights where I think they should be. Along the front of the leg, along the where the shin bone would be, on the knee, on the top of the claw. Just a little bit of highlights on the top of the gun. Let's move that back a little bit. The head there, you can see the highlights. So, a line along the front, on the shoulder, and on the top of the arm, holding the sword. A little bit on the thigh and a bit on the bum cheek, a bit on that knee, on the side of the boot there, which will be catching the light. But then the underside is dark, back of the leg is dark, backpack under the arm is dark, or darker I should say. Back of the head is darker. So we do have a good bit of contrast there. Overall, I'm pretty pleased. So the next stage of doing this would be to do the yellow streaks, the yellow highlights, and do the eyes, and do the blade and the decoration, and then do the rocks and the base, and this one would be done. I'm not, as I said, I'm not going to do the blade or the eyes or the decoration, the yellow decoration with the ear, brush is really giving me gyp today, and I am not very happy with it. So I am going to put this model down. I'm gonna take a quick recess for a cup of tea, because I absolutely need a cup of tea. And then I am going to start to work on my Despid sting wings, which we assembled and primed previously. So I'm just going to do the base coat on those and call it quits.